Hello and welcome to Traditional Painting the Digital Way. This is where I use digital painting apps to teach traditional painting techniques. In this series, I'm trying to paint butterflies and grass, and I'm having a struggle with it, so I'm showing you what happens when you mess up and what you can do to fix it. If you're following along with traditional paints, then go ahead and check out part 1 of this series, where I have a list of all the paint, canvas, and the materials that I use. And the app that I'm using is Infinite Painter for Android. And so in the last video, I decided that things just were not working, that everything was too busy, that there was too many flowers, and they were fighting with the viewer's eye for, you couldn't tell them from the butterflies. So I decided that I needed to get rid of a bunch of the grass. And if you're following along traditionally, you can take some of your grass color and just dry brush back over the top of a bunch of the flowers. And in Infinite Painter, I decided to use the smudge brush or the blend brush and just paint over the top of the colors that are existing and just smear them. And leave some of the color, the flower color in it, and just go ahead and smear that and make it look like grass again. But leave the colors in there just for a variety, and it makes it look like real grass in a field because they have different colors, oranges and yellow tones and things like that. So that's what I'm doing. I completely wiped out all those flowers that I did because I didn't like what was happening. And I actually didn't keep it on a separate layer. I merged them together and I just smeared them all together because it needed something drastic. And sometimes you have to do this. Don't be afraid to do this, because if you can see that it's not working, don't abandon it, but don't be afraid to radically change some elements in your painting. And the grass and the flowers just weren't working right. So I went ahead and radically changed them. And kind of, you just have to do that sometimes. It's just something that you have to do. Don't be afraid to do it. I mean, at that point when it's not working, just think, well, I don't have anything left to lose here with this painting. So let's see what happens when we do this. And so that's what I did. I just went ahead and did a totally, excuse me, a totally radical thing and wiped everything out. And as you can see, it actually starts to look better now. You can see the butterflies again. You can tell that the butterflies are sort of the focal point there. And so I've decided, well, the butterflies need to be a little bit more refined, but let's keep them, but not add as many flowers. And so here I'm splattering some more of the red paint again because we kind of wiped it out. We covered it over. So I'm adding a little bit more of that red paint and some yellow and some white, little splatters, but don't make them so big that they start to take away from the flowers again. So that's what I did. I used a real fine splatter this time. And again, you can take your toothbrush, if you're following along traditionally, and thin your paint out and just splatter real fine spray there on your painting. And you do that by, if you want bigger drops, you pull away from your painting. If you want small ones, then you get closer to your painting. And then here I'm adding some blue flowers and some red flowers again. But I'm not adding as many. I'm trying to keep that down. And I'm adding a little bit of some yellow flowers. And again, you can take your number 3 round brush and just make kind of shapes of flowers. But they don't have to be real refined. You want rough shapes because it's not a real big close-up. And then here I'm trying to restrain myself and stop putting in so many flowers. Sometimes it's not what you put in a painting, it's what you leave out of a painting that makes a painting work. In other words, you may add too much stuff and ruin it. So you need to restrain yourself, and believe you me, it is so hard for me to do that sometimes. But I need to restrain myself and stop adding so much stuff and so much detail because you don't need it. Sometimes in a painting, less is better because when it's just too busy, the viewer's eye can't settle on your focal points. And I wanted the butterflies to be the focal points. So here I decided to add red flowers for that blue butterfly to be on so that it would show up better. Now I've left a little bit of the white there, and that doesn't look bad because we want a chaotic look of grass and flowers and things, and they're not real uniform in nature. And so then I worked a little bit more on the shape of the wings of the yellow butterfly again, and I just added a little bit more dark around the edges so that he would show up more. And that's the whole point, is that you're trying to get these butterflies to show up. And so then I wanted to go ahead and add a little bit of the grass there. I'll have to go back and add some more individual sprigs of grass, but here I'm looking at it and trying to see what I need to do and trying to restrain myself not to put any more flowers in it. I decided less is better and I don't need any more flowers in it. So I'm adding some more of the individual blades of grass. And again, you can use your script brush or number 3 round brush to do that. And you want to add dark sprigs against light background and vice versa. And you just want to kind of draw the, or drag up the leaves of the grass over the top of the flowers to settle them back into the grass. And you want to try to again settle the flowers down in there and not make them look so busy and things like that. So that's what I was trying to do, was settle the flowers down, make them sort of fade into the grass, not be so prominent, so that again you can see the butterflies, because that's the focal point that I wanted. And who would have thought that this simple little painting that I thought was going to be so easy, oh, I'll just make some flowers and some grass and some butterflies, right? Well, this happened to be one of the hardest paintings that I've done in a while because of the simplicity. Sometimes it's harder to make a painting look simple than to make it look complex, because there's not as much to hide from when you do all kinds of complex things. And when something's simple, then they can see all your mistakes. So you have to try to get it right when you're doing a really simple painting there. And then here I decided that I didn't like the butterfly where it was at. And since I put it on a separate layer in Infinite Painter, it was easy for me to just take the butterfly and move him with the transform tool, which is one of the really nice things about Infinite Painter that I like, is you can just use the transform tool and the lasso tool, and you can move those butterflies around and make them a better composition. So that's what I did. But if you're doing this traditionally, guess what? You're going to have to paint the background out again and repaint the butterflies there. But I'm telling you, don't be afraid to do that. Just do it. Because you've got so many different colors In the background, it's easy to do that. You just make sure that you scatter all those colors in the background there, and just go ahead and paint over them, and just change them a little bit. Probably if I was doing this traditionally, I wouldn't have moved the black butterfly. I would have just left it. But I definitely would have moved the orange butterfly. So sometimes you just have to do these things, and don't be afraid to do them, because it will make your painting better. And as you can see there, it's not so busy now. You can see this comparison shows that now you can see the butterflies, and they're not just kind of cluttered up against next to the flowers there. You can see the butterflies and just a hint of the flowers. And so it just kind of makes it a better composition. And the viewer's eye actually goes and follows the line of the butterflies. So I hope this helped people. It just shows you that painting is not perfect, that every painting that you do is not just a perfect masterpiece, that you have to struggle, you have to fight, you have to change things, and you have to not be afraid to change things, and you have to not be afraid to just kind of start all over again. Not exactly start from the beginning, but paint out a lot of things and change it. The old masters did a lot of that. They show with the x-rays that the old masters actually painted over things when they weren't working, and that's just what painting is. You just have to look at it, and if it's not working, you just have to fix it. And so I hope that gives somebody an idea of what you can do when something goes wrong with your painting. So thanks everybody for watching. Thank you so much for your support. Stick around. I'll have a brand new series coming fairly soon. And if you have any questions or any suggestions about what you would like to see, leave them in the comments down below. And I will catch you later.